Let's Pour Up. My name is Colina Bruce. My guest today has been acting for many years, since he was 33. JK.
Chuckle.
Has written 5 children books and a comic book, or has published 5 children books and has written a comic book, and has studied in MMA. Let's welcome Jeff Cheatham. Okay, I don't know if study is the right word. Tell me about MMA.
So mixed martial arts, the whole
Yeah, I know what it is, but were you a artist, competitor?
I was training to fight.
Trained, okay.
I was training out of the West Coast fight team out in Auburn.
Okay.
I don't know the shooter. This is many moons ago.
Okay.
Like because this is right after the heels of me playing college football, so I was still believing I needed to compete. So I was like, oh, here's this thing called mixed martial arts, so I get to punch people in the face.
Oh. Okay.
So I was training out there, and then right before my exhibition, they called it a smoker, so it was like an exhibition. Right before that, all of a sudden, I don't know what was going on, but I couldn't raise my arm past here.
Oh my God.
For like 4 months. I couldn't raise it. I went to the doctor.
I was going to say, did you go to the doctor?
I did. I went to the doctor. There wasn't any structural damage, no torn.
Oh, wow.
I just couldn't raise it for like 4 months. I just believe that was like God, like, that's not your
path.
Sit
down. Yeah. This is not what I have, designated for you.
Right. And I was ready too, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So you trained.
Yeah.
And you were going to beat somebody up.
I was.
But you didn't get to that point.
I didn't get to that point.
Okay. And many years as an author.
Yes. Many years. Actually, wow. 12.
12 years.
12 years,
okay.
Yeah, because I started in 2012.
Okay.
Self-published, learning how to do it. I didn't know any workshops or schools to go to, so I was just Googling and YouTubing.
Yeah.
Yeah, published my first book in 2014, so, 10 years.
Okay, so how did you get into, like, what inspired you to write children's books?
Short answer, my kid, Jocelyn. Okay. But what really got my journey started, I've always wanted to be in a story. Like, I grew up watching television, like Power Rangers, all that stuff, and I always loved doing it. You know, back in the day when you and I were growing up, you would see us outside acting like we were the Black Ranger and stuff. You know, I always wanted to do it. And, of course, you had Looney Tunes and all that stuff. But what really got me rocking and rolling with storytelling was professional wrestling. I would watch professional wrestling. I would see the guy that everybody booed, knew that was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then I saw the guy that everybody cheered, who was a good guy, so I knew the dynamic between good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
And then my dad got me into comic books like Archie, Spider-Man, Batman. And I just would start writing my own comic books based on these influences.
Yeah.
And then so that tie into my daughter, when my daughter was 4 years old, she wanted a dinosaur book. So I took her to the Barnes & Noble out in Tequila. Looking for a dinosaur book, but then I started noticing the book covers had people on them, but nobody looked like my daughter though. So I was like, why don't I just write a book?
Yeah,
and that's how I got started.
All right, so you've published 5.
I published 5,
and you've written a comic book.
Yeah,
and are you going to publish that as well?
So I wrote the comic book with it's called Little Big Fella. I wrote with Jakundi.
Okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
I wrote. He came up with the story, and I wrote the story based on the premise of the one that he wanted.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So it's out.
It's out.
I've seen it. We have it in the shop.
Get a Little Big Fella. Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so dope. I think it just really goes back to the whole concept of like representation matters, seeing people who look like you.
Right.
And you know a little bit about that through also Acts on Stage.
Yeah, Acts on Stage.
And tell me about Acts on Stage.
Well, Acts on Stage. Something for everybody.
Yeah.
No, so I started acting in 2017, and that was by luck. I was already in full swing as a children's book author, so I started to gain a little bit of notoriety in the community, and Langston Hughes was doing a stage reading of every 28 hours. And so somebody who worked for Langston who knew me was like, hey, why don't you do this? And I was like, I don't know about theater. Whatever. I was scared. But I was like, it's a stage. I was like, stage reading. Oh, you'll have the script with you. I was like, okay, bet. So I can read. You know what I'm saying? So
I can read.
I can read. I can read. And so I did it. But when I would look out in the audience and saw the crowd, it reminded me of football. It reminded me of like the cheers, because what happened was I said a line and somebody laughed, And I was like, ooh,
You're like, oh, I got
like
some
that.
juice.
I got some juice. I like this feeling.
Yeah.
And when I did something else, I heard people go, oh, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I love this feeling.
You're moving
and,
the people.
Right. And that's what started the bug for me acting, but I didn't know the circuit.
Yeah.
A lot of my story is DIY. Like, I just figured it out.
Yeah.
I didn't have the patience to go to a workshop. I just figured it out.
Yeah.
So after that happened, a year went by. I got casted in another production at Copious Love Productions called Hypotheticals, directed by my friend Aviana Rodriguez Brown. And I was like, man, I can't keep doing it, but I don't know. And then the following year, I hear about a theater called Acts on Stage, a black-owned, black-operated theater. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Okay,
in Seattle?
yeah.
And it was doing a production called 12 Angry Men, but it was going to cast all, like, 12 black male characters.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I want to pursue acting. And if I can't get a role in 12 male represented parts, then maybe I shouldn't be doing it.
There has to be one.
I can't get one out of 12, right? And so, fortunately for me, I got the part, but this was during COVID. When COVID,
I remember,
yeah, it was crazy. So instead of us doing a live performance, we decided to film it.
Yep.
And that was my first time being on a set too. So not only was my first time pursuing acting full throttle, but it was my first time being on set, all because of Acts on Stage.
Yeah. And I remember us watching that at home during the pandemic, and we were like, oh, he can act a little bit.
Right. And I still don't believe y'all.
Oh, no. Like, you got some, yeah.
Right, because, like, and it was funny because, you know, all my peers, my homies, people I grew up with, who knew me as just a football player, and now I'm acting with a character. And it was, oh, you were good. I'm like, man, stop it. You're just being encouraging. Stop
No, you're good.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And you got started a little bit later in life than others. And so what does that mean to you, or any advice for someone who's like, I'm not cut out for it?
Don't believe that lie.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like, don't believe that lie, because that was a lie we grew up with, right? Like, oh, if you don't hit something by a certain age, then it's not meant for you.
Yeah.
But I was like, I literally seriously started acting for real at 35. I mean, I got the taste of the stage at 33.
Yeah.
But when I made the choice that I want to become an actor, I was 35 years old. Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, if I'd had this, like, if I was empowered with this like information sooner, I'll be further along. But, you know, things happen for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So
that reminds me, I feel so bad because I don't remember her name, but remember the one of the characters from Black Panther, and she started acting when she was
what, she was one of the
70,
elders.
80,
Yeah, one of the elders. Yeah,
and she blew up after that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
there's really no cap on your greatness.
No, it's none whatsoever. And also, it's like, who put that on you?
Yeah.
That, oh, if you don't reach your goals by age 30, then just stop dreaming.
Then it's a wrap.
Right. If you don't, I'm sorry, but when did you started doing the candles?
Oh, I have been doing candles for 4 years, but it really started as just like a side. It was actually just like a let me occupy my time during the pandemic.
Right.
And then it turned into a business. I had no intentions of actually starting a candle.
Yeah, and that was a staple now. Like something from the pandemic, that was a staple.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, don't put a cap.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
There's a common theme lately that the pandemic has like cultivated a lot of brilliance. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
If you take all these luxuries away from me, who I am for real, and all of a sudden,
exactly.
you got Acts on Stage, you got Nora Lux, and you got all this other stuff that is manifested from this.
For sure. But I also think it kind of opened our eyes to things that were right in front of us. Like, think about Zoom, right? Nobody was using Zoom before the pandemic. I mean, you may use it here and there for a webinar or something like that, but now it's like the common way to have a meeting with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, just little things like that we're like, oh, yeah, that's practical and it works.
Yeah, it's convenient. It's convenient.
But like you said, you know, it also gave us a little bit more time to tap into things that we may have been neglecting because we were spending time in the car driving, going to work every day or whatever. And now people, although I think Amazon is sending people back. Is it Amazon that's sending people back to the office?
Yeah, I think so.
5 days a week.
They gotta find a reason to have all them buildings. So yeah, they got to justify the reason. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to get into that.
Right. My bad.
No. So okay. So we're Facebook friends.
Yes.
And
yes,
we knew we were gonna go here.
Yeah.
Every so often, I'll see a post from
Uh-huh.
Jeffrey. Sometimes I don't know which way it's gonna go, but
Mhm.
typically it'll start with dating is trash or something to that
Right.
nature. What? Tell me, is this an official or unofficial chronicle or?
I keep playing with it. I think I need to do something with it. It's called Seattle Dating Scene is Trash.
Okay, that's what it is.
Seattle dating scene is trash, and the idea, the idea came from when I got out of a serious relationship,
Mm,
and I was noticing different things happening around me that were very unique. And since I'm
okay.
a storyteller by heart, I started seeing the nuances of a narrative with everything that's happened.
Yeah.
I think one of my first posts was I was out in Tacoma. I was filming a movie that I was in,
Okay.
and I
Come
went to.
on, movie.
I know, I just dropped that. Yeah, it's on. I filmed a movie.
Right.
It's on Tubi. It's on Tubi.
Tubi. Come
Tubi
on.
movie. Yeah, check that box
Period.
off.
Yeah.
So I was filming a movie, and during one of our breaks, I went to A&PM gas station.
Okay.
And common courtesy, when you see a woman, you open the door for her.
Okay.
So
that's not always so common, but
that's
that
why
is a great.
that's how I was raised.
Okay. Yes. Exactly.
How I was raised.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, it's not. You're right. So I opened the door for her, and it was a black woman, and she stopped and looked at me, and she just looked at me and composed herself and was like, I don't need you to open the door for me. I can do it for myself. Thank you. But she still walked through the door. And then I was just like,
Okay.
wait, what? And already I had like, a jilted lover's heart. And I was just like, what? Wait a minute.
Like, I'm trying to be nice.
trying to be
trying to be a
nice.
gentleman.
And so I posted it. And the reason why I say Seattle dating scene is trash was because I was bitter.
Okay. Accountability,
Yeah, you're right. I can be
acknowledgement is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, this is before it got super crazy with all the podcasting of like men versus women.
Mm-hmm.
And I was being tongue in cheek with the whole Seattle dating scene is trash because I would hear people say that, oh, the dating scene here is trash. It's trash.
Yeah.
But my response is, what role of the mess do you play? Because if the common denominator is you, because you keep meeting all these people who it never works. These are different people from different places, different backgrounds, but it never works.
Right.
What's the common denominator?
Okay, so question. Let's go back to the young lady.
Oh, yeah.
Who, she didn't need you to open the door for her.
Right, still walk through.
What do you Why do you think that was her reaction?
At the time I was thinking it was that whole I'm an independent woman, I don't need no man thing. That's my mindset. But also, looking back on it now, I don't know what her experiences were.
Yeah.
I don't know not to go far extreme, I don't know if a dude did open the door for her and she liked it, she walked through, and then he, like, grabbed her.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, yeah.
And we have to take that into account. We don't know what people's personal experiences are.
Yeah.
But at the time, during my bitter heart stage,
I was like...
Right.
You want to cuss.
Yeah, I wanted to cuss.
I think that's interesting. I think it's definitely, like you said, understanding, giving people grace, because it could be a situation. I know there's been a number of times where I go to the gas station and some man is whistling or whatever, and you are just like trying to walk with your head down, like, I'm just trying to pay for my gas, I'm just trying to get back home.
Right.
So it could, there's a number of things that play into it, especially in today's climate where people feel like it's okay for me to, like you said, hit somebody's butt or grab it. Like, people just feel like they have more access to people than they should.
They do, and
that doesn't justify her reaction.
No,
but I'm just saying.
But I look at it, I was like, I don't know, because I know my intentions were good.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like left foot, right foot, like opening the door for a woman, like, oh, okay, but left foot, right foot, right?
And you have to be at peace with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know my intentions were good.
Right.
So whatever,
Exactly.
And maybe she went home and thought about that and was like, damn, I was hella mean to him.
Probably not, but so. But I get the grace. But what I've learned though, because for a minute I was doing like a Facebook Live call out, like I would go on Facebook Live and then invite people to come and talk to me, and we would, dissect what they were going on, and the stories I was getting was like, oh, y'all really going through this for real? Like, it's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
And also I was going to do a podcast. I got some help from Dre Franklin from Bill 206, and he helped me out, set up a whole situation, and I was doing like a call-in show, like, because I'm a big fan of call-in shows, like the back in the day, the radio shows. And so I wanted to set up like that and just have people call in and just talk about dating situations, but do it in a constructive way, because the one thing I try to avoid is gender bashing, because that gets us
Yeah.
nowhere. Because I am a real believer in love, and I want people to find their person and love and marry
Yeah.
and do the family and all the stuff that they choose to do. But there's something going on where it feels that there's like an intentional action to keep people separated. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I'm calling it Operation Jezebel Spirit. I don't know. Because you got to be some kind of conspiracy with
Right,
it.
there has to be.
Right, but I don't know how deep you get into like those podcasts or those shows. But I'm like, how's there so many different podcasts that talk about the same thing and doing it in the same way, where it's confrontational,
right?
Where it's like, well, women are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do that.
Well, I think a lot of it is how people are raised. A lot of it is people's own ignorance or their ideologies that they're committed to.
Right.
And a lot of it is also clickbait and saying things to get paid.
Yeah.
So I think there's a number of things. On that note, I was going to ask you, I don't get super into those podcasts, but I did see, again, on Facebook, a dialogue around a podcast recently where some young men had mentioned that the ladies in Atlanta were not all that and the ladies in Seattle were baddies. And then, did you see this?
No, I did not see this, no.
So then there was another conversation where a young woman had posted that, like, she didn't understand how people could prefer women in Seattle over Atlanta's ladies. And it was a whole thing for days and days and days.
I'm glad I didn't see this.
So what is your outlook on the ladies in Seattle?
Oh, I love the women of Seattle because that's who I was.
On.
That's like, I'm about to say that because you're here. But I grew up, they're my sis. Like, this homegrown, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I grew up getting protected, getting looked out for by women of Seattle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to think about the whole word bad bee being used as a compliment.
Right.
Like, oh, Seattle got some bad bees. And I'm like, okay, you talking about bad bees. The real definition of a bee is a female dog. So I'm like, bad female dogs. And now this is a compliment now. Where are we at in society? I don't know.
Well,
anyway,
that's been an age-long conversation.
Right.
We have to go back to the roots of hip-hop.
Right, roots of hip-hop. Exactly. But no, I love Seattle. I love Seattle's women because, like, from my personal experiences, I've been saved many times from a woman from Seattle. My counsel is women of Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, if I need advice, I'll go to my homeboys and I go to my homegirls, women of Seattle. So I love Seattle women. Like,
awesome.
Absolutely.
I mean,
y'all do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Time again.
Yes. Okay. Well, I usually start with a quote, and we just move straight past that. We're gonna go back to the quote. Okay. The quote is, "Reading gives us a place to go when we have to stay where we are." How do you feel about that?
That's a bar. That's what makes me. That's why I enjoy telling stories. There's not really a lot of genuine pure forms of escapism in literature.
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking about earlier about how representation matters. Because if we can't see ourselves going beyond the realm of reality, then we're going to be stuck in the same place.
Yeah.
That's why it's important for our kids to see black wizards or black dragon slayers or brown warlocks. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see that because it elevates your mind to think beyond your current circumstances.
For sure.
And I've said this before in many other interviews. I wasn't a fan of always seeing black folks in New York, in the countryside. Right. Or during Harlem Renaissance, even though those are great stories. Yeah. But it seems like that was the only place that we were put in. You know? That's why I love seeing more stories about fantasy and magic. Yeah. With us being represented in it. For sure. So I love that quote. Who said that?
You know, I'm not quite sure. I found it on the internet.
Okay, bad. I didn't mean to put you on my fault.
No, but that's our moment of meaning.
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch on the fact that I know that you have used your platform to try to bring other Black artists along with you, and you've done that through different events and things like that. So can you tell me more about that? Are you still doing that, and why have you done that in the past?
So I need to get back doing it because acting.
Right.
So I was operating an organization, SUBE, and the main idea was to provide a platform for Black and brown writers and authors to showcase their work. Ties into Acts on Stage. So we just recently collaborated. We developed a partnership with Acts on Stage. So I'm going to relaunch that.
Okay, nice.
And get back to the mission.
Yeah.
2025. And the reason why I did it was I just remembered how I felt. When I first started, I didn't go to a workshop. I had no mentors. I had to find everything out myself.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to put myself in a position where I can help out people as best I can. Like, do I know everything when it comes to like writing, literature, self-publishing, or publishing? No. But I know enough to assist.
Yeah.
And I just want to be a helping hand,
For sure.
It means a lot. I love seeing, somebody's journey from zero to book, and the fact that I was able to help out. Like, it feels good doing that.
Yeah, I know. I had a former staff member who worked at Norlux who was writing and was able to get her book published. And then she got connected with you.
Oh, no.
And then she ended up getting her book into Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
And she did a bunch of your workshops and different events and things like that.
Yep.
And so she's a transplant. She's, was finding her way. And she said that, being connected with you and the other network of Black authors was huge for her because she didn't even know that existed, especially in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of hidden gems up here.
Yeah.
And it just takes somebody just to not be the lead, but just be a home.
For sure.
Just be a home.
Yeah.
And then let other people come to your home and just figure it out on their own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Come on, metaphors.
I'll be reading.
All right. We're going to play a game.
Okay.
And this goes back to the dating scene.
Okay.
And so I looked up like the best or like easy, not easy, but some accessible speed dating questions.
Okay.
So these are supposed to be really good speed dating questions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me ask you first. What's the first question you would ask on a date?
To me, it's based on how I met her.
Okay.
So the first question is based on how I met her. The most recent one. I asked her I literally did the whole short-term, long-term girls. Like, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And she provided a quality answer, but she was stunned because she was like, men don't ask that question. And I was like, no, I have plans.
Yeah.
So what do you plan on seeing yourself in 3, 5,
Wait,
7 years?
so that was an opening question on the date?
Yeah. No, of course, it was like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I'm good. You good? You had a good time? Oh, you got
right.
you got
So what are your long-term goals?
No, it's like, you want something to eat? You want something to drink? Okay, bet. All right, cool. What are your long-term goals? Short? Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't even ease into the, okay.
Because I base it off the energy I get. Like,
Okay.
I feel like I'm a great viber. Like, I can read energy really well.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was an openness and also a receptiveness for me to ask that question.
Okay.
Because how she met me.
Okay.
She met me while I was in my workspace. So
Okay.
she already knew what I stood on. So
okay. So because there was some context there,
yeah,
you felt comfortable moving into that level of conversation.
Right. And
if it was a Facebook dating app, we keep going back to Facebook.
Right.
And it was a first-time person you had not met or didn't have any context with, what would be your first question?
It'll be based off her profile because I have to find.
Oh, you would peruse, do some background.
You got to vet.
Okay.
I think a lot of issues that people come across, they don't vet people no more.
Okay.
They just jump straight into, hey, come here. Like,
yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think people are looking like eager for companionship?
I think so. I think people are eager for companionship. I think a lot of it is eager to be validated. Because if you have somebody that's with you, they're supposed to validate you.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mixture between companionship and eagerness. I'm starting to come across, I don't think people are dating for love no more. It doesn't feel like that because love is challenge. Love is, because you're blending two lives together as one, and you got to weave it through years, not days or weeks or months, years.
Yeah.
And that includes family, that includes health, that includes finances. And I don't think people really understand that because of the influences of social media,
For
because
sure.
you see people who've been together for 20 years post something, but they don't show that this took 20 years for us to
Absolutely.
get
Yeah.
to Indonesia, Bali,
Right.
Indonesia. It took 20 years to do that.
Yeah.
They think, oh, I'm supposed to meet somebody, supposed to just take me
Right.
to, like,
Right.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's debatable in terms
Yeah.
of if people are dating for love, but I think that people are looking for um situations that work for their lifestyle.
Situationships, yes.
Not necessarily situationships, but I would say the idea of marriage is not one that everybody desires.
Right.
But they may be committed to the idea of stability, or, usually financial stability, or someone who's a provider, or vice versa. So I think it's really based on people's values.
Right.
And some people don't value marriage. Some people don't value love. They might say, if it's someone that I want to be with my best friend, I want to enjoy spending time with this person, but I don't necessarily have to be in love with them.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been married for a while.
Forever.
So I've been married for a while. But okay, let's get back to the game. So these are some good first date questions, and I'm going to ask you.
Uh-huh.
The first question says, would you choose to fight a shark or wrestle with a lion?
Neither. For what? For who? Who am I fighting the shark in?
For love.
For love.
I'm just kidding.
For my daughter, I'll fight. Yeah, I'll beat a lion's butt. For my kid,
you would choose the lion and not the shark.
For my daughter, absolutely.
Okay. What's your best pickup line?
Hey, baby. No. My best pickup line. I don't have a pickup line.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I don't have a pickup line.
But if you had one.
If I had one. Best pickup line would be.
Or a good one that you've heard.
A good one that I've heard. Oh, okay. A good one I've heard is, you're a beautiful woman. I'm pretty sure that you have been approached and courted by a lot of quality men. So can you tell me the line that works so we can save ourselves time?
Have you used that one?
Yes.
Has it worked?
She laughed. And then, she laughed. And she was like, where did you get that from? And then I told her what TV show I got that from.
Where is it from?
It was like an old show called, it was like, it had a young Terrence Howard, a young Miguel Nunez, and they played lawyers.
Okay.
And Miguel Nunez was like, you're a beautiful woman. I'm sure you got hit on by a lot of guys. And then she was like, yeah, of course. She's like, okay, so tell me which lines that work so we can save ourselves a lot of time.
Okay, that was a lot smoother the second time you did it than the first time.
Yeah, I had to remember it.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah, got to remember it.
Okay, I could see that going somewhere. What would be the name of a book written about your life?
Ooh. Black and African America.
Say more.
I'm proud to be black, but I'm realizing that the concept of being black or being African American isn't coming from the pens or the words of our culture. It's being defined by other people. Like our music. We don't own our music. We don't own our stories.
Yeah.
Like, our stories has to be vetted through non-black hands, non-black eyes, and non-black minds. So it's like, with me, right? Because, I told you I got started when I was 33 doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was based on stories and narratives that I heard when I was a kid. So now it's like, okay, how do I define what my black is?
Yeah.
What Jeff's black is. So
Okay.
that'll be, growing up. So it'll be growing up black in African America.
Okay.
Right.
Period.
I should have trademarked that.
Yeah, I was going to say trademark that. You still got time before this airs.
Right.
When was the last time you laughed really hard, and why?
It was a couple of days ago. I went to a karaoke event at Roomba Notes.
Oh.
And it was like 5 of us in there, but we had a good time. We was just singing songs to each other all the time.
Just taking turns
singing songs, working out
right.
the kinks. It's our notes were on point.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who sung a song, and he was a stand-up comedian. I forgot his name, so my bad, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he was just doing these off-the-wall, in living color type jokes. And I haven't heard these type of jokes in a long time. And I was just sitting there like, yo.
He was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I just busted out laughing. So.
Oh, okay. That's a
I
good
wish I
one.
remembered his name. I'll give him a shout out.
I know. Maybe I'll come back to you. Have you ever drunk dialed anybody?
Yes.
How did that go for you?
It was funny. Because I realized what being drunk does, and this is not a PSA for drunkenness, so this is not, being drunk's not good.
Right.
But what I love about being drunk is it eliminates your apprehension for stuff that you already wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
So when I was drunk, no, hold on, that might make me sound bad. Hold on. When did I have my moments while I'm inebriated?
Okay.
And I decide to communicate with somebody in this state of mind.
Yes.
I just say stuff that I've been wanting to say to them.
Well, they say that a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I do this, that's when I get to some truth. I'm like, how come you didn't say this when I be sober? Like, why do I have to take me being drunk to
right.
hey, what the? No.
So there's nothing that you've done where you like been off the Henny and then you said something and then you woke up and you're like, oh shit.
Nah.
Okay. Everything, all the drunk calls have been positive.
Yes.
Positive outcomes.
Positive outcomes.
Oh, okay.
I discovered truths.
Okay,
so,
good. Okay. Well, maybe you should get drunk more. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Drinking is not good.
It's not good at all.
Okay, last question. Politics on a date, yes or no?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Because if you plan on
on the first date.
I would say yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you're serious.
Yeah.
What I mean by serious is if they present an energy where it's like, oh, I can see myself doing long-term things with this person.
Yeah.
I would say yeah.
Okay.
But not. Sorry, I should have got a tissue.
No.
But I wouldn't say do a full debate about it. Just figure out where they stand.
Yeah.
You know, like, so what do you think about Kamala Harris? What do you think about Donald Trump? What do you think about Black Lives Matter? What do you think about abortion rights? Like and it pretty much discuss all the political topics that are discussed every single day. Yeah. So that way, because this person is going to represent you. Right. So if their mindset is not aligned with yours, that means they're going to misrepresent you publicly. So
is there a potential for this to go really left?
Yeah. Right.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, because everybody ain't meant for everybody. Yeah. So rather you learn early than you get fully emotionally invested in somebody and the truth they told you, they stick with it, and then now you're upset about it. Yeah. So, yeah.
What about how important is religion in a relationship?
If that's what the person wants to have as a foundation, then it's very important. I know that we're living in the times where people are becoming more spiritually conscious or still trying to figure out their spirituality practice. Yeah. And make that important because the thing, I want people to understand with relationships, it's a union. Mm-hmm. And the more bonds or more connections you have, the more harmonious your union's going to be. Yeah. I don't believe in that whole opposites attract thing. It's just weird, you know. Yeah. Only thing like opposite is if she's an extrovert and you're an introvert. Yeah. But your moralities are in line. Right. That makes more sense than like, oh, they're completely opposite of me. Like, I'm reserved. Yeah. He's an exhibitionist. Like, that's not going to work.
I agree. I think that if I was to give any advice on relationships, I would say that relationships are not like always going to be 50-50, no. Right? And so you're not necessarily trying to find a person that's just like you, and you're not trying to find someone who's opposite from you. Yeah. But there has to be a balance. You know, you have to be able to one person has to be able to carry the other person sometimes and vice versa. And that's just the nature of relationships. So people that are coming into relationships looking for 50-50 are going to have a really hard time because that's not realistic.
It's not. And also that term 50-50 literally just came a thing in the last 2 years. I've never heard nobody say, I want to go 50-50. I want to go 50 unless it's been on podcasts. Yeah. I've never heard nobody talk like that.
That is a podcast discussion. Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like there's a person in the relationship that should be the provider, or do you feel like people should be bringing even amounts of food to the table?
I think it's balanced off your relationship. And the thing, me personally, I hate this conversation where it's like one size fits all. Yeah. That's never going to be the case. Right. Like, as a man, I might be dating a woman who has a child, or I might be dating a woman who doesn't have children, but her mom is physically handicapped, so she needs to be there for her mom. Or, if a woman dates a man, he might have adopted 7 children, he doesn't have any, like, it's never a one size fits all. It's not like that. So this approach of 50-50 provider, first, do you know the definition of those? Like, what does that mean? So everything's 50-50, meaning, okay, if a man's asking for a woman to go 50-50, it's not just what she gives you 50-50, it's about what you give her 50-50 too. So if you're asking her to go 50-50 on the bills, you got to go 50-50 with her on her emotional labor, the mental labor, the community labor.
Absolutely.
And if women want a man who's 100% providing and protecting, that must mean that you're 100% providing and protecting the household when he's away at work, making that money to do that. But I'm starting to think people really don't know these terms. They're just saying it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
But find somebody that fits what you need instead of one size fits all in it. You know?
And that's what I would say too to my girls who are dating. I'm like, there's gonna be you start with this list of things of like, this is what I want in a partner. Go through that list and determine, like, what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
What are your deal breakers? What are your values that you're not willing to compromise in order to find a partner? Because there are some things, once you go through the list, you're like, well, maybe I just wanted that because I thought that was what I was supposed to have or whatever. But then there's some things that you're like, absolutely not. I'm not compromising on this. This is a high priority or a value on, this could be a deal breaker. So start there first. Understand why you have your non-negotiables, your deal breakers, et cetera, and then you can move into,
I'm sorry, my nose.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's really tickling my
Blake,
nose.
can you see it on camera?
Snot? They got snot? Okay.
All right.
So, but no, you're right. And also, if those are your non-negotiable,
I just knocked something over.
Okay, I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
If those are your non-negotiables, keep it as your non-negotiables. Don't move the goalpost because you really desire somebody that has something else, but they don't meet your standards.
Yeah.
And a lot of people move the goalpost, so it's just like, stay strong with it. And also question if that's really what you really want, or it's based off what people told you should want.
Exactly.
So
you gotta stand on business.
Stand on business.
Okay.
And what really exposed that to me too? The whole Chris Brown thing. The Chris Brown meet and greets.
What do you mean? Which part? The men leaving the women?
No, the women's standards. Because think about it. Chris Brown, a multimillionaire, has created an opportunity where women have a chance to do whatever kind of pose they want to with him.
Yes.
And all they have to do is pay $1,100.
Yeah. All they have to do.
All they have to do, and they get any kind of pose. Because we've seen the poses he does, right? Where he can grab her butt, he's holding them.
Pick them up, cartwheels.
Cartwheels, all that stuff. But yet, if a man says, I'm going to take you to Cheesecake Factory, that's beneath it. That's where you draw the line.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable cheesecake, but you paying $1,100 for Chris Brown to grab your butt.
It's based on their values.
Exactly.
That's what they value. They value, what are they valuing in that situation? Are they valuing the opportunity to meet someone that they idolize? Or are they valuing the opportunity to have a picture with this man with his hand on their booty so they can get some followers? Or, there's something that they're placing value on.
Yep.
That they're willing to spend their hard-earned coins.
$1,100.
But Cheesecake Factory, I mean, they may want to go to Cheesecake Factory. If Chris Brown took them to Cheesecake Factory.
Took them to go. But also I think it's the opportunity for a chance for Chris Brown to be like, hey, what you doing after this?
Okay, so you think they're paying for access?
Yeah. I think it's like a lottery ticket. Think of $1,100 and Chris Brown grabs your butt. Like, he must think I'm attractive then if he grabs my butt. That's like,
validation. They're paying for validation.
Yeah, just like if Meg Thee Stallion were to do that, the whole men would start lighting up for that.
Now, that would be a whole different
conversation.
Different?
How's that different?
No, I'm saying the conversation would shift to
Yeah,
harassment
it would be.
or sexualization.
That's a good point. Yep. There's always a double
Whereas Chris
standard.
Brown may be considered as a sex symbol,
Right.
doing something like that to Meg the Stallion would be considered as
It would be. No, you're
criminal
absolutely right.
act.
It would be a criminal act, even though men are paying for it to do the same type of poses with Meg the Stallion as women are doing with Chris Brown. Society-wise, it would be looked a lot.
Meg would be the bad guy. Meg would
I
be
don't-
the villain.
You think so?
Yes.
I think the men paying for Meg would be viewed as.
They would get clowned, but
Yeah.
I feel like Meg would be like, "Oh, Meg's up here letting people, all these niggas touch on her."
Right.
Da, 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 da.
You know what? You're right.
I'm just saying.
Even though that's not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair, but you're right.
It's
though.
the standards
It's a hell of
that
yeah.
people have set for men and women.
Right. That's why it makes you charge $10,000, and men will pay.
Would you pay?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say that on camera. No, I was gonna say. I'll say it. I don't care. This is my personal opinion. I feel like there's a lot of women in Seattle who look better than Meg the Stallion to me.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't even be like, ooh, Meg the Stallion, because I've seen women who are beautiful, who are talented, and who are doper to me than Meg the Stallion is. So I wouldn't even be impressed or hard pressed to do it.
Okay.
So
Well, and I would say too that it is totally fine to have Meg the Stallion be an amazing, beautiful stallion.
yeah,
and to have beautiful women in Seattle and then they not be put against each other.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I hate that happens with y'all because
Which y'all.
because when they put women against each other, bro, it's crazy because every time y'all work together, things happen.
Yeah.
I grew up with that. Like every time black women get together, y'all put your heads in that ponytail and just sit there at the table. Okay, girl, what are we doing? Bam! All of a sudden, 3 months later,
Right.
buildings.
Yeah. I mean, we hold this magnificence
Yeah.
and it's greater when we're together, but we're often pit against each other.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother conversation.
exactly.
All right, so we have a segment called A Win is a Win, and I'm going to ask you to tell me about a time that you have experienced success, joy, that you're proud of, or a time that you've experienced a challenge that you overcame and you're like, a win is a win.
A win is a win. I would say right now, a win is a win is when I was casted to be a part of the next show, A Soldier's Play, by Acts on Stage.
Yeah.
I love that story, love that movie, loved it. So when I heard that they were doing it, I was like, man, I got to be in that.
Yeah.
So, and this pretty much, this play it culminates all the years of DIY, my artistry, and now I'm going to be in this play, and I'm playing CJ Memphis. So afterwards, look who CJ Memphis is.
Yeah, I'm going to look up.
Yeah, and the fact that, I was casted as CJ, I'm like, oh, Lord, okay. Because CJ is a free spirit, but he's a free spirit in Jim Crow South during World War II. So how I'm going to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it, though. Also, another moment where a win is a win was during the whole Teen Summer musical at Benaroya Hall. Benaroya Hall. I know people get on me. I call it Benaroyal.
Benaroyal.
Benaroya. And just that whole vibe with like all of us down there being there for our babies. And I would joke with some of the parents like, yeah, we're them parents now where we're the parentals.
Yeah.
Just running around making sure our babies look good. And that was so dope seeing it and how they killed it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they killed it.
Yeah. So. I cried every show. I was a little baby.
Oh.
I tried too. I was like, Lord, I done seen this show 5 times. Why am I still crying? But it's just it's so dope. I cried the first time I saw The Lion King, the Broadway musical. They came to Seattle probably over 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
All black cast. The opening scene, I was just like, woo! It's just something about seeing black excellence and on a stage where other people can come and witness it and understand, like, they may not fully understand the work and the tears and the happiness and all that goes into it, but to see it come to fruition, at least as a parent, and seeing my child go from a mini to a main is like,
killing it.
All the things that you pray for and seeing your kids pour it out in their fullness. And then, like you said, the crowd is reacting and responding
to our babies.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I just
Like,
got chills again. I don't like that. Yeah.
I wish
amazing.
I was able. I know it's a time capsule in our memories, but I wish there was a time capsule where we can just revisit.
Yeah.
Even though it was strenuous, but it was worth it.
It was.
Yeah. So
it was good.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you prepare? You said you had to get ready for this role, which is maybe not like who you are and how you live every day.
No.
How do you get into that mindset to prepare for these roles?
I have to answer the question of why, the purpose, right? So for the character CJ, I'm going through the process of learning his why. Like, why is he in this circumstance? Why is he in this world?
Yeah.
Why does he feel certain things? So I'm learning the why.
Okay.
And once you start rehearsing more and get deeper into the script, into the world, in the story, the why will become more crystal clear, and I'll be able to find him. Yeah. So right now I'm searching for CJ.
Okay.
So I can share him with the world when we do the production.
Dope. And in the midst of that, how do you practice self-care? And just in general, what does that look like?
Listen, I discovered pedicures.
Okay.
Listen,
you recently discovered them?
Recently discovered pedicures.
Okay.
I don't know what my life's been like without it. I'm like, man, the whole process, them rubbing your feet, clipping your toenails, putting that or like that hot goo.
Not the baby oil.
Not the baby oil. No, not no baby oil. No, that I ain't gonna speak on that. We gonna keep this on air.
Yeah.
That made no sense. No, but just that, and also reading. I'm getting back to reading.
Okay, nice.
And also being more mindful on what I consume. You know, trying to get myself in better physical condition. So being more mindful about how much water I drink.
Nice.
How many fruits I eat and all that stuff. So
okay. Have you practiced affirmations before?
I try to.
Okay.
I actually try to write them down.
Okay, great. We're gonna do it right now.
I bet.
You're gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna read a prompt. So I'm gonna say I am, and then you're gonna respond to it and say I am with your response.
I am somebody.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. First prompt. I am not somebody. Say something else.
I am grateful.
Okay. I welcome
change.
Yeah. I deserve
love.
I choose
me.
I believe
in me.
I trust
me.
Okay. I don't know how I knew you were going to say that. I know
it will be okay.
I feel
warm.
Okay. I create
art.
I love
life.
I am
an artist.
Amen.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Felt weird.
It feels a little weird.
It feels a little weird in a good way.
Yeah.
That was dope. I actually like that.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start doing that more often.
For sure. I think it's important to affirm ourselves. This is the segment called the pour up, which is at the end of the show.
Okay.
We're pouring into ourselves.
Okay.
And into each other. And I think that it's important for us to pour into ourselves just as much as we pour into the world. You're using your talents, your art, your creativity, and pouring that out. So you always have to replenish as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's cool.
How can the people find you?
You can find me on my social media. So my Instagram is Channel Cheatham.
Okay.
Channel Cheatham. Find my Instagram. You can find my books at Jeff Cheatham 2. JEFFCHEATHAM, the number 2.com. All my books are on there. Facebook is just Jeffrey Cheatham II, and that's where the Seattle dating scene is trash stuff is at. It's on my Facebook.
Okay.
I'm gonna do something with it.
Okay.
Actually, I might just write a book. I'm gonna do like a chicken noodle soup version of Seattle dating scene. Well, from all the stories that I have and from people tell me, I'll start doing book series and see what happens.
And okay, let me ask this: when you write, you're writing about the dating scene being trash, but also, are there insights on your role in Seattle's dating scene?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I want people to find what they really are looking for.
Okay.
That's why I have the conversations I have. If you're looking for love, I want you to find it, but I want you to look at it from a realistic point of view.
Yeah.
You know, and that means your accountability in
Yeah.
your dating life.
Exactly.
Yeah, because to me, it comes across as people feel like they have no control over their dating scene because it's about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But you're saying yes to all these people you're sitting down having dinner with.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let's fix that.
So yeah. So I'm excited to read about it, but also I think it's important to note that, like, yes, there are things that are happening externally, but also there's self-discovery that has to happen while we're dating.
It has to.
Yeah.
And also, do you really want marriage, or do you want to just be a situationship person?
Yeah.
And tell the truth. It's fine.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth about it. It's fine.
Shame the devil.
Shame the devil. Yeah. Marriage ain't meant for everybody.
Period.
So
yeah.
stop. Yeah. If you want to be a situationship person, then accept your fate.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that's how
Last thing. What's next? What should people be on the lookout for?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I am CJ Memphis in the upcoming production of A Soldier's Play at Acts on Stage. The show's going to run from November 14th through November 14th through November 17th, and then our second run will be November 21st through November 24th. We'll announce tickets and start letting people know to get it. So we'll be in that. And A Soldier's Play is set in World War II. It's in Louisiana, and it's a story about black on black crime, black on black crime in the highest order in the U.S. military during Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a powerful story, directed by Isaiah Anderson Jr.
Yeah,
and we got a group of talented guys. It's gonna be
yeah.
interesting, and we're also talking about race in a way that is refreshing, in a matter of unbridled, unfiltered.
Okay.
And hopefully it creates dialogue.
Yeah.
It will create dialogue. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's the next thing I'm going to be in. I'm locked in on that. And yeah, Soldier's Play, Acts on Stage.
All right.
CJ Memphis.
All right. In the meantime, we'll be looking on Tubi for you.
Yeah. Oh, Tubi, my movie. Thank you. So I'm in a Tubi movie. It's called Homeless or Right at Home, which was directed by a black woman, Cassandra Price.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, young phenom. So Homeless or Right at Home. It's on Tubi right now.
Okay.
And I play Davis, who's a villain.
Okay.
Yeah, so
your villain era.
I'm a villain era.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And yeah, good luck. We'll be tuning in to all the good stuff, greatness.
Yes.
And dating the bad stuff.
The bad stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Good and bad balance.
Good and bad. Perfect. Thank you guys. See you later. Bye.